Welcome to episode 2 of Moving Parts. This week's special guest with Abby Hamilton is Rick O'Neal, owner of Nothing Missed Home Inspections, LLC. Rick has been in the construction industry most of his life, and he began his career as an inspector for Fannie and Freddie Mac up north. He founded Nothing Missed Home Inspections in Florida a little over 6 years ago, and since then he has won the Best of Inglewood Award for 4 consecutive years. As a licensed Florida home inspector with a Master Home Inspector certificate, he has some useful tips and tricks for buyers and sellers entering into our volatile market today. Sit back, relax, make sure your headphones are charged as Abby and Rick take over. And be sure to stay tuned for the end of our podcast where I, Toby Beth Johnson of Burnstore Title of Southwest Florida, will give you Tuesday's title tip.
Hey everyone, good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is episode 2 of Moving Parts. I'm Abby Hamilton, the Realtor next door with Peacock Properties, and we are partnered with Burnstore Title. And our wonderful guest here today is Rick O'Neal from Nothing Missed.
Good morning, Abby. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
We know you're staying busy.
Yeah.
So, first off, before we go into everything about home inspections, as that's your specialty, we want to know a little bit more about you and what brought you here, or if you've been a Floridian, or how you got to Florida, and a little bit about your past. So, however you want to jump into that.
All right, well, I moved to Florida in 2017 with my 11-year-old son.
Okay.
What brought me to Florida would be probably what brought most people here: the water, weather. Wisconsin can go 30 days without sun. It gets a little depressing, so this is definitely the place everyone wants to live, as you can tell by the traffic outside. So that's what brought me down.
And did you had you visited this area before, or did you guys just kind of pick a point on the map and say that's where we're going?
So my mom moved down here back in the 90s, or I think late 80s.
Okay.
So she moved to Cape Coral, so
Okay.
I ventured out a little farther away from there.
All right. And did you already work in the home inspection industry, or did you kind of find that path while you were here?
I used to do inspections for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Okay.
The difference was we had to fix the problems back then, so I liked going in, telling people what's wrong, and just going on my way.
Leaving it to them.
You fix it.
Yeah. So how did you get your backing in? Did you have to go to school or anything to get certified for that?
Yes. I got certified in Wisconsin before I came down here. It's a little more difficult in Wisconsin to get licensed than it is in Florida. We had to take a 4-hour test in Wisconsin along with schooling. In Florida, I think it's like a 20-minute to 30-minute test to get your home inspector license down here. So it's a little more stringent in Wisconsin than it is here.
Okay, interesting. So now on your services that you offer, what are those consisting of, and how, if I was to be buying a home, would I call your office and say, hey, this is like what I'm thinking about needing? How do we even kind of figure out what services might be best for my fit?
So our office girl, Caitlin, she does a great job helping people walk through what they need. We offer almost every service that goes along with home inspections. If we don't offer them in-house, we subcontract them out. We subcontract out septic system inspections and well inspections, but everything else is done in-house. We have sewer scoping, radon testing, air quality sampling, which is after the hurricane, a lot of water came into people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
People are wondering if they have any mold growing in their house. So we'll sample the air, send it to a lab. The lab will send back the results, and you'll know what's growing in your house.
Okay. What is radon testing? A lot of people don't know what that is, or their understanding might not be quite right on what that is.
Radon is a non-smelling gas. It has no signs. You don't know it's there. It comes from underground. It seeps into your house through cracks and crevices. The newer the home, the more chances you'll have higher levels because the houses are wrapped and they're airtight. Mm-hmm. So as it comes into the building, it builds up inside. Radon is the number 2 cause of cancer in the world, right next to smoking.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Most of radon's more
common up.
more common up north than it is down here.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it is not in Florida. It is down here, but
Yeah.
it's not as common down here as it is up in the Midwest and the East Coast.
Okay.
And a lot of people have the idea that if you have a basement, that's the only way you're going to have radon. That's not the case. It's just going to be the lower levels going to have higher levels because it's going to seep in through the ground and it's going to start in there. And then if you have a second level, it'll go up from there. So the lower level will have higher concentrations than the upper levels of the house.
And does it require some turnaround time for that test to be done?
Yeah, those tests take about 48 hours, a minimum of 48 hours. The system we use does have a fast pass, so in 24 hours it'll read the levels, and if it's acceptable, it'll send an email out saying that this is a fast pass. And if the levels do spike at the end of the 48 hours, the company will pay for remediation to be done on it because they're so confident in their machines that they will pay for the remediation.
Okay, that's good to know. So you also mentioned a mold test that you guys do, and you said you send that in. How long does that turnaround time take?
So there's two types of mold sampling. The first one's an air quality test. So what we do is we'll set up air pumps. We take an outside test to see what the background levels are, and then we'll do inside tests to see what the levels are in there. Every test takes 10 minutes to run on the air pump, and then we send those samples to the lab. We overnight the samples to them, and then there's a 24-hour turnaround time. So once again, about 48 hours.
Okay. And you've seen a lot more of those tests requested since the hurricane, or is that something you just emphasized?
We've done a lot of tests. People are very concerned. Water came in, even if they were fixed, they want to make sure that they were fixed properly, just so they know what the levels are in their house.
Interesting. And then, so when the hurricane came through, I thought I saw something that you guys offered to do post-hurricane checks. Inspections. Was that correct?
Yes, we did a lot of storm inspections. These were basically to let you know and your insurance company know the amount of damage that were done. It was just a way to record the damages, so you had digital proof of what was damaged, so that as you were fixing stuff, you can go back to the original and be like, hey, this was damaged, but we fixed it, because we didn't want water to come in, things like that.
And it's good to do that early on, because I know a lot of customers, if they didn't document, or if they did have photos, it's been a huge game changer for insurance claims and getting the right channels to compensate accordingly.
Yes.
Through that. So that's huge.
The recording things is very huge. You got to make sure that you have everything documented, so that you can prove that the damage was done at that time and not later on. Your window was broken back at the hurricane, not 2 months later.
Yeah, and so going to that documentation, when you guys do your home inspections, what kind of documentations can customers expect to receive?
We give a digital report on all the inspections we do. They're going to have colored photos, notes. There'll be everything explaining what you need to know. Our reports are written in a way that we don't use big words to make ourselves sound smart. We want everyone to understand our reports. The reports do no good if you don't understand them. So we want to make sure everybody understands what we're saying, and we'll answer any questions they have. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm sure you get many questions from that. And how does the pricing work? Say you had a condo versus a 2-story over a few thousand square feet home.
So all of our home inspections are based on square footage. The bigger the house, the more you're going to pay, the more time it's going to take. And then our ancillary services like wind mitigations, 4 points, things like that, those are all a flat fee. That's more of an office question than I can answer, but they're all a flat fee for that stuff. And like I said, everything's based on square footage. Okay.
And in servicing, so congrats on earning one of the best of Englewoods and 4 years in a row. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. And so you don't just service Englewood, correct?
No.
Where would you say you service to?
We cover from Sarasota to Punta Gorda, more or less, right now.
Okay. All right. And scheduling, I know that you guys are able to schedule some of that online. Is that correct?
Yes, we have an online scheduler, and also Caitlin in the office takes all the phone calls and schedules everything for you.
Perfect. So it's very convenient to get those scheduled. New construction is a huge thing right now. There's so many homes going up. There's so many to be built, and inventory is coming around. What have you seen? Have you been doing a lot of new construction home inspections?
Yeah, actually, this week I think we're doing 7 or 8.
Wow.
That's probably one of our biggest things we're doing right now. As they're fixing homes, we're doing more regular inspections, but new construction has been a big thing for us. And you got to remember, with new construction, they're building them really quickly. I would recommend. I'm a home inspector, so I'd recommend home inspection on any house. But
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend home inspection on new construction. If nothing else, you're going to get a punch list of things that need to be repaired for the builder. But a lot of times we find bigger, more substantial items that need to be fixed.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know, especially because sometimes people think, oh, it's a new home, what can be wrong with it? And from being on the other side, when certain production builders or even these small owner builders and investor builders, things can fall through the cracks because of the quantity of things that are going out. So
I actually did an inspection on new construction, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I went to check the outlets, and they were switched outlets. So I turn the switch on, and I stick the outlet tester in the outlet, and the smoke alarms start going off. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I went and checked with the painter, and I said, hey, did you turn on the smoke alarms? And he's like, no, I did not. I'm like, okay, so what did I do? I said, I checked the outlet. So I pull the outlet checker out, and nothing's still going off. I turned the switch off, and sure enough, smoke detectors turned off.
Jeez.
So they wired the smoke detectors into the switches.
Jeez.
So-
And if you didn't do a home inspection, well,
They would have figured it out the first day. I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah, it's the things we find in new
Jeez.
construction sometimes is more than we'll find in an older home.
Okay, and that's good for people to keep an eye on. I know, as from a realtor standpoint, some of the contracts you really, as a consumer, you really have to go through the contract and see what your obligations are and where you can, because they don't make it easy, some of them, to get a home inspection. But I do know, I've had people ask me this, so I was curious on how much you guys do with, during that new build time, you have that 1 year kind of, they say, builder warranty, new construction. So is that something that you've had calls on that say, hey, my year warranty's almost up? Is that, can you come inspect it and see if there's anything that needs to be done?
So what we do, it's called an 11-month inspection.
Okay.
So we come in and we'll go over the entire house top to bottom. Even if we did a pre-sale inspection when it was brand new, things can still change in 11 months. Now you have a 12-month warranty, so why would you let that go? Just like with a new car, you're going to bring it in to see if there's anything that needs to be repaired. As houses settle, things are going to move a little bit, so you want to make sure all that's documented. Sometimes things just wear out. I mean, you can buy a TV from Walmart today, and it doesn't work next day. So, I mean, things just break. So if we come in and document that stuff, then you can turn it to the builder, and they have to fix it within that 12-month time.
Okay. And I know, speaking of warranties, something that is unique to your company is that you offer a warranty. Can you explain a little bit more on what that is?
So we offer a 90-day structure and appliance warranty, a 90-day mold safe warranty, a 90-day sewer guard warranty, and a 5-year roof leak warranty. Now these warranties aren't the same as what you would offer your clients for a 12-month warranty. They're limited, but they have protected my clients. Just in the short time we used them so far, we did a home inspection on a house, and they didn't want to do a sewer scope. So when they moved in, now we check all the fixtures, we run the water the entire time we're in the rooms to try to simulate someone living there, but it's not the same as people living in the house. You got 3 people showering, you run the dishwasher, there's going to be a lot more water going through that sewer. So when they moved in, real life happens and the sewer's backed up. Okay. So they called us and I'm like, listen, we didn't do a sewer scope, but here's the good news. We have these warranties. So the warranty company, we sent the home inspection to the warranty company. They seen there was no issues with it. They got the bill to have it repaired, to send that to the warranty company. And I think the warranty company paid out $2,500 to have that section of sewer replaced.
Okay.
So, I mean, the warranties, they do work. Like I said, they don't cover everything like what you would offer. They don't cover the washer and dryer for appliances. There's certain appliances they cover, certain ones they don't. But it's still added protection on top of what you have.
It's peace of mind.
Yes.
Where some companies don't even offer anything like that. So it's like if you're weighing your options out, well, I would probably choose one that comes with a warranty. It's a nice perk to have.
They are a great perk to have. Like I said, it's just added protection for you. I mean, it's not an excuse for us not to do our job.
Correct.
It's just added stuff to make sure that you're more protected when you move into your house.
Well, that's excellent. So what are some big ticket items that you've been seeing Is there something that you've seen more frequent than others on coming up in these home inspections?
A lot of moisture damage. People paint over it to hide it. You're still going to see sometimes it still soaks through. A lot of roofs are being replaced right now, so that's a plus for the home buyers. If you have a brand new, that's the most expensive maintenance item on a home is the roof. So that's probably the biggest thing right now is everyone's getting a brand new roof. But if they have tarps on their roof, rainy season starts. I think today is the beginning of rainy season.
I mean, we're prime time summer, so it's coming.
If they don't get those tarps either replaced or a new roof put on, we're going to have lots of problems this summer because those tarps they're a one month Band-Aid. And it's been 8 months since the hurricane. They're all worn up.
And I was thinking about that too, especially because we're getting closer to entering, not that people want to hear it, but hurricane season is about to start. And so, I mean, PTSD, some from still the last one, it's going to be
and our summer storms can be pretty bad.
With the rain.
Just a regular summer storm with the wind and everything else. So those tarps they have up there, even if they're brand new, the wind storms that come through, they could be 60-mile-an-hour gusts. Those tarps aren't going to hold. So the sooner they get the roof replaced, the better off they're going to be.
As a seller, because I want to touch on both points of working as a buyer getting an inspection and as a seller getting inspections. Sometimes we have sellers ask, should I do a pre-home inspection to prepare my home to get ready to sell? Is that something that you guys do many of, or is that something obviously you probably would recommend it being on the home inspector side?
So we don't do as many as I think we should do. The cost of a pre-listing inspection is minimal compared to what the advantages are. So if you're a seller and you list your house, a buyer comes in and you agree on a price, and they do their home inspection and they find out the roof is bad or the HVAC system's not working correctly. At that point, as a seller, you can't renegotiate prices. So you have two choices: let the deal go or lower your price. If you were to do a pre-listing inspection and we found these items before, you've got options now. Number one, you can fix those items and you can market it. So you put a new roof on, you raise the price of what you wanted to begin with for the price of the roof, and then you market it as a brand new roof. Or you can disclose these options and let them know, hey, this is the price we're selling the house for. We know that the roof needs to be replaced in a couple of years. We know the HVAC system's old, but this is the price we want. So when the buyer comes in, they accept your terms, they do their home inspection. They can't come back and be like, hey, the roof shot, we want, lower the price, because they already know about it.
And I think it eliminates a lot of fear because, I mean, as a realtor, when I work with buyers and I work with people getting ready to sell their home, and disclosing is obviously utmost importance. And I just say disclose, anything you know. One, it's the right way of doing business, but it also keeps people aware of what they're buying into. And I feel like if I was buying a property and I knew that A, B, C already are things to anticipate, it's not going to be as much shock when maybe A through E come up and I can say, oh, I already knew some of those items.
See, that's a good point too. Even if there's no major things wrong with the house, if the inspector were to find, say, 20 minor things, that's a lot of things that are listed wrong. And buyers are already nervous about spending all this money. So you add all these little things on. If you get a pre-listing inspection, you can go through and you can fix that double-tapped circuit. You can fix, the light switch that doesn't work. All the little tiny things that added up on there.
It won't look as much of this item needs to get checked, this item. I mean, even if they're minor, it still adds to the shock factor.
It does. Even little things make people nervous. I mean, they're already nervous because they're spending all this money on a new house. If you can take away some of that fear just by replacing a light switch cover, I mean, that just it adds up.
Yeah, and I think too, it's just simple things. I mean, what I've seen lately from a buyer's standpoint is, I mean, this is the market prices and working with locals. They're sticker shocked already by seeing how much these homes have gone up, and they want things more move-in ready because all the money they're saving needs to go towards that home purchase. So it's not something they want to fathom getting into the home and doing the repairs after. So anything that people can do to make it more move-in ready, I think is a win right now.
And some of the things that they're going to be nervous about are literally like 13-cent fixes.
Yeah, easy.
So I mean, it'll cost the seller, let's say $100 to fix 15 little items, and that's 15 items that come off the list. So, like I said, the couple $100 it costs for a home inspection as opposed to the benefits you get from it, I think is a no-brainer.
Okay. Now, something I was curious on too, because we have those that are selling, those that are buying, and then those who have recently closed on their home. And maybe I'm a new homeowner, and I can probably speak on this. Some things aren't my area of expertise, right? So what are some areas that you might encourage new homeowners to maintain, so if they come time to sell, it's just something to stay on top of, that they might have less problems moving forward?
So maintenance is key no matter where you live, but Southwest Florida's kind of a bigger deal. We all move here for the big yellow globe in the sky, but it's destroying everything, including us. Paint is huge. Nothing lasts as long down here as it does up north because of the sun. So you should paint your house every 7 to 10 years. As soon as it starts to chalk, you should paint it. If you have wood, I would paint it sooner than that, because wood will be destroyed quickly if it is not covered with paint. Other items to look at: a roof down here. An architectural shingle up north the last 40, maybe 50 years. Down here, you're looking at 15 to 20 tops.
And I know with insurance, that's kind of
Yeah.
altering things too right now.
Well, insurance, if we give it 5+ years on a 4-point, they'll normally insure it up to 20 years, but 20 is pretty much the limit.
Okay.
But they just don't, nothing down here lasts as long as it does up north. And people have to understand that. And the closer you live to the coast, the shorter time span you're going to have on your stuff. The salt is even worse than the sun.
Well, I think growing up in Northport, and not that Northport's the only applicable town, but there's a lot of wells and septic system. So what would you encourage for either homeowners to take care of on that, but also on the inspection side?
Well, I see a lot of homeowners, they'll get their septic tested because they have to, but they don't do anything with their wells. I would definitely have those tested also, just because it's an expensive process to have a new well put in. If your well goes dry or if the pump goes out, I would always recommend having those inspections done also.
Okay. And if someone called you back, granted, as realtors, we try to have a list of contacts in those relationships, but if they wanted your recommendations, do you guys have a
Yes.
contact list that you can refer stuff out to?
Being a home inspector, where we work side by side with all these contractors, so I have a list in the office of contractors we trust, and we send those numbers out, because Florida is the scam capital of the world. Yeah. So it's important to have a trusting contractor to work with. Yeah,
and with the hurricane, there was a lot of you had everyone from every state coming down here to pick up work, and I know that locally there was a lot of announcements saying, hey, check this, and this, to make sure that they're reputable. And some people just wanted the work done.
People got scared.
Yeah.
They didn't want to wait. And some of the people that signed contracts with these out-of-state companies waited twice as long to get their stuff done than the people that went local. I always recommend going local.
We do too.
When companies leave, if they're not held responsible, they don't care if they get bad reviews in Northport, Florida. They do care in their hometown, though. So if a local company does something wrong, they're going to do their best to fix it, as opposed to someone that just left and says, well, have a good day.
And what I've spoke on prior in our other podcast, it's like you live and you work with these people. Your relationships matter. You're going to see these people again. Your reputation matters. Not just from a pride standpoint, but if you work where you live,
yeah,
it's best to have that reputation.
Most companies are going to take pride in their work because
yeah.
They want that referral. I know in my company, one bad referral can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we do everything correctly and honorably. Our tagline is inspections with integrity, and I stand behind that. We, as realtors and as inspectors, some of our clients don't even see the house till after they close.
Yeah.
They put a lot of trust
That's a good point.
into the agents and their inspectors, and that means a lot to me. We got to make sure that we're doing the best job we possibly can for them, because, like I said, they've never even seen the house. They're buying it sight unseen. They come down, want to make sure that they're not going to have any big surprises when they get here.
That's a very good point. And because we deal with out-of-state buyers all the time, that's a bulk of our purchasing is done by out-of-state or even out of the country. You said you did home inspections in the past in Wisconsin. What made this an area that you wanted to pursue, and how is it different than what you did in Wisconsin to here now in Florida?
So the biggest reasons I got into residential home inspections was because all of my family and friends, every time they were going to buy a house, they'd say, "Hey Rick, you want to come look at this house for me?" And I'd go. They'd hire a home inspector also, but I'd go there to look and make sure everything was good because I did inspections for 10 years prior. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to start a company doing the same type of inspections I did for my friends and family. I wanted to make sure that the people were getting an honest home inspection. I mean, I've heard of home inspectors that are in and out in an hour. We want to make sure that we're doing a good job for our clients, making sure we're going over everything that we can possibly see and everything we can possibly do to make sure that they're making a sound investment, just like I would for friends and family.
Well, I think that's great because I can relate to that where, I mean, I grew up here and want to help my friends and family make sure like they're choosing a good investment here in Florida, and I've seen it change. And I also have friends that are moving into the area from up north, so it's nice to be one of the trusted sources that they can look to when they're making a big decision, because obviously buying a home is one of the biggest expenses you'll ever make.
It is, and it's a very scary purchase. Like you said, it's one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make, and you want to make sure that you're making a sound decision.
Well, that's awesome that the trust that they had led you to making it a full-time business.
Yes.
So I know people are curious, as am I. What are some of these, well, either recent or in the past, crazy things that you've seen during your home inspections?
So the number one thing I didn't find this personally, one of my inspectors did. One of the sellers had a roof leak. Instead of getting it fixed, they took a piece of plastic, they nailed it to the truss, and they diverted the water down into a garbage can to hold the water. But we've seen things as far as putting duct tape over holes in soffits and in gable ends. They put vent covers on the wall, and if you take it off, it's just a wall. There's no vent there. The biggest one for new construction, there was two of them. One of them was, I went up in the attic and I'm looking around and I'm like, there's something wrong here, and I couldn't figure it out, and it took me, I'm embarrassed to say, like 3 seconds.
Why did you think something was wrong first off?
It was just something was wrong. I couldn't figure out what it was, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, holy cow, there's no insulation up here. Brand new house,
in Florida.
No insulation. In Florida, they had the insulation strips there that you're supposed to blow the insulation up to, but yeah, there was nothing there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was quite funny. And this the best part about it was the city had a CO for it, saying the insulation was done right.
So that just goes to show people that it doesn't mean that they were in the house looking at every little thing. Sometimes they have 10 homes to go drive by and it just gets checked. So another reason why it's good to go take another look.
I mean, there's just a bunch of just crazy things people do. Sometimes it takes them longer to hide the problem than it does to fix the problem. I did a house where down here in Florida, our garage doors are small walk-through man doors. They rot at the bottom all the time.
Oh, okay.
Anything over 5 years, they get wood rot at the bottom because water gets underneath, it seeps up, and it dry rots the doors out. Well, instead of fixing the door, they took caulk, just regular caulk, and filled the holes. And you could put your finger right through it. And I'm like, either they think the home inspectors are just incompetent, or I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah, there's a lot of things sellers do to try to hide things. Like I said, they paint over stuff to make it so it doesn't look like it's stained. They'll put things in front of stuff, a bush, just to hide it so you don't see it. I mean, there's a lot of things that are hidden that people don't realize.
That's crazy. But I mean, I'm sure you've seen quite a bit, and I'm sure it won't be the last, but it's nice to know that you do check between the lines to make sure everything's checked off. The great thing is you've built up a wonderful reputation in the community. You have glowing reviews. You've gotten awards for that, and your personality, you can just tell if anyone ever talks to Rick that you're down to earth, open, and honest. And I think too, it's a good quality that when mistakes happen, we own up to it, and you always want to do the right thing. And it's hard to be perfect. Obviously, our goal is not to be perfect, but to try our best and to work through those hurdles that come through our lines of work, because there's a lot of things that do come up. So what are some of your goals moving forward for your business? New things that you've recently added, or plan to add on here soon?
So we're trying to put value in our inspections. We offer the warranties we talked about. We're also offering new products all the time. The newest products we're coming out with right now is called Home Binder. It's basically a 3-ring binder online. So you put your home inspection in there, your appraisal in there, any kind of repairs you do. It has a recall check built in. It's co-branded with your agent and the home inspector that did it, so you can reference them down the road. It also sends you reminders if you're need to replace your air filter in your furnace, things like that.
So it's kind of like a Carfax, like maintenance. You can see the history of it, and then you also know the maintenance that needs to.
Yes. We also are going to be implementing, it's called Repair Pricer Max. What this is, it's an AI backed repair pricing for the area that we're in. So that'll get sent to the buyer's agent so that they can go through it with their clients and explain to them what the prices generally are going to be.
Okay.
It's not going to be exact, but it'll give them a roundabout, because we get asked every day, well, how much is this to fix? I don't know.
Well, that, and it's changing constantly, and it has changed, especially because supply and demand.
Yeah.
But that's good to know that you guys are staying on top of those.
Yeah, so we're making sure that you get a good value for what you're paying for.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate you taking the time to educate us a little bit more on the home inspection field, because it encompasses a lot of different angles, from those trying to sell, those trying to buy, and then those who recently took on this home and wondering what the next steps are to that they can be a good homeowner and prepare it for the others that might come down the road. So,
well, thank you for letting me come on. It's good to explain to people so they get an idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Like I said, home inspections, I can't stress enough. I don't care what company you use. I cannot imagine buying any sort of property without having a home inspection. I mean, there's so many hidden things you wouldn't even know about that we can find that you wouldn't know about.
Yeah, and thankfully, like, that's something I always recommend. And we're gone are, I wouldn't say gone are the days, but right now it's less. There was a few people that were like, nope, I'm just gonna waive my right for a home inspection because that demand was there. But I mean, I always recommend, if you can get one, get one.
Yeah, there's a lot of buyer's remorse right now.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
I believe it. So it's good to know that you're someone that we can go to and a trusted source in local business in the community. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, folks, it's me again. Today's Tuesday title tip concerns fraud. When listing a property with an out-of-state or out-of-country seller, please be sure to get 2 forms of color ID. Send them over to us at neworders@burntstoretitle.com so we can help verify that your seller is in fact the one and only owner of said property.